breath from out of my lung. Ritalin prescribed to my body was numb. They silenced the tongue, and it's melanated Keanu Reeves. Unaware that Oz win has been a one-on-one. Blinded by my dark side, innocent my heart cries. Never saw those hard eyes, nah. My crushes fell alongside. Light of pigment heart throbs who never got their heart right.
Really?
Duh, I hated every pretty bougie girl passing notes to everyone but me. My ex got paid to date me. She probably got paid to fuck me. I probably never got over that. I started fucking a cousin, looking outside of myself to become someone that I wasn't cautious. I went in raw, no intention on being awkward. She took that life inside of me.
Hello, nomads, party people, and strangers everywhere across the internet, and okay, final countdown of the year. Now, before you guys even go into anything, please don't ask the question. I don't feel like saying what I really want to say about top 10 listers at this point of the year, because if I do, so many people would then just jump down my throats in the comment section just like, so what's your beef with everybody that does this? I don't have beef. I just don't want to conform to the norm. Just let me do me. Let me be great. Anywho, let's go over the top 8 video games of 2018, where this is kind of like a best of list. If I want to do a worst of list, a lot of the games I could think of would not be said with kind words and would probably get this channel taken down in a heartbeat. Well, there's always Toko. Anywho, let's go over just these top 3 rules with this countdown. Number 1, it's only rated by my own personal enjoyment of said games, where I did demos, I saw Let's Plays. I'm not even going to go over just games I played this year. Everything has merit. Like a few games on this list, I have not played. At least 3 of them I have not played at all, to any degree. Rule number 2, only games released in 2018. Not remakes, like The World Ends With You Final Mix. Not anything that's supposed to be a new port to a video game, so nothing to do with anything Stardew Valley or Final Fantasy 15 did. Only games that legitimately had the balls to drop in 2018. And rule number 3, no episodic games. So unfortunately, no The Walking Dead from the now dismantled Telltale Studios. With that being the case though, let us start off the list at number 8.
Chump cash-in time.
Starting our list at number 8, we have Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu and Eevee. Oh wow, I'm talking positive about a fucking Pokemon game. Wow, someone give my channel a gold star. Yeah, Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu and Eevee was probably the biggest sales grab for a lot of people in Nintendo because A, people got to play in the Kanto region again, and B, Eevee was selectable, bitches! Fuck that Electrogret! It's all about Eevee, ho! All about that Eevee life. But in all seriousness though, Pokemon Let's Go, Eevee, and Pikachu were probably, again, one of the biggest cash grabs because of Pokemon Go finally having a reasonable exploit for people to just take what they've been catching while walking around, getting exercise, and drowning, to then go into their switches where they can then play on the go on walks, get hit by trucks and buses and other cars, and then drown again. While they're just trying to go on this big adventure in Kanto so they can get all the badges, challenge the Elite Four, neglect their loved ones, and then go off on another adventure, hopefully when they make another Pokemon Let's Go version with all the other expansions. And then people will die from hypothermia. My own point in this whole thing is Pokemon Go is finally taking the next step into the gaming console before it finally turns to Skynet and enslaves us all. Anyway, next entry, please.
Chump cash-in time.
Coming in at number 7, we have a game that I personally enjoyed the most, even though a lot of people didn't. I mean, I know it was glitchy, but still. Number 7 goes to Call of Cthulhu. I know what you guys are probably thinking. Oh, wow, a weird game about a Lovecraftian horror that is apparently going to kill us all if it awakes from its slumber, even though it's supposed to be put to sleep in order to make sure other more dangerous gods are put to sleep, including his own mother with the most racist name known to man. The answer to all that is yes. Yes, it is, in fact, that game, where we're actually focusing on a lot of the lore from Lovecraft stories. Lovecraft's very, very short-sighted stories. Excluding, of course, the
mysterious color unlike any seen on Earth,
where we're just focusing on a singular lady gone missing, having paintings going everywhere in the known stretches of these two distinct lands where only random white people are. There are no people of any color, just white people everywhere. Lovecraft would be very, very proud. And so it all just culminates into how the psyche becomes to deteriorate, because if it's a Lovecraftian eldritch god of all horrors, there is no sanity, only desolation. And it's probably one of the best puzzle games that did not infuriate my very being and soul into any sort of degree of I will smash my PC and console into a million pieces at the same time. So there's an accomplishment there. But again, I get that it's glitchy, and I get that this is just my own personal thing, because unlike Pokemon Let's Go and Eevee, this doesn't allow you to die a very stupid death. And instead just makes you go insane. But I also get why people wouldn't like it, because of the puzzles, or because of the story, or because they're afraid of Cthulhu coming out of the screen and then finally just ensnaring them into murdering each other. Let's move on into number 6.
Chump cash-in time.
Striking off things at number 6 with a very powerful punch, we're going to go into the platform of Sega, where unfortunately we could not put anything good from Sega this low. We had to put something that was just okay, which is sad. Which is Fist of the North Star, Lost Paradise.
Oh, 100 Fist Rush! You're already dead.
Oh, the landscape of anime video games and how they just turn up the heat for anime fans everywhere. If you guys don't know, Fist of the North Star is probably one of the most graphic manga series slash anime slash OVA slash movie franchises this side of Violence Jack, but not as bad as Violence Jack if it has a gangbang session with, I would say, Devilman Crybaby and Devilman itself, each taking their own unique turns, with Elfin Light in the middle, or that one weird carnival one that was made by that one guy that is like so controversial I don't want to say the actual name because it gives people PTSD flashbacks. It's not as bad as that combination right there of a horrific sex scene right there. It is, quite frankly, the most tame in comparison. It's like if all of a sudden Berserk were to open up a sex shop and then everything that was gory just like left out with white hair, like, oh my god, oh shit, what did we fucking see? You know, it'd be kind of tame in that regard. But that's how you sum up Fist of the North Star in general, in the tone of a gory, violent manga slash anime series. Cut to the video game of Lost Paradise, however, and instead we have a beautiful send-off to what is the actual manga series, told in a very poetic manner that I never thought would be done with actual justice. Using very similar methods used by the Yakuza franchise, then instrument itself into the mainstream consciousness that is with all the stuff going on right now. We have the same free reign in local cities, being able to fight all the locals that just come up to you like, hey you, protagonist, I'm one of the random mob spawners. Want to do battle? Fuck it, why not? Or you can just run away and be like, I don't want to fight today, I'm bleeding. I want to fight anyway, but I'm bleeding. And it's just an enjoyable ride altogether because it doesn't try to do anything that it doesn't need to do, like other anime games, to just go that simple measure of, we're here, we have a good enough platform for it, so now let's actually do something profitable with it. And I wish other games did this. And other anime titles did this. Still waiting on a big enough JoJo's Bizarre Adventure one that isn't just a fighting simulator that does something like this, but I'll get there someday. But why is it only at number 6 above Call of Cthulhu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu if Pikachu and Eevee were a big sellout thing and Cthulhu got a lot of independent fans really riled up to play with an Eldritch God as the end-all be-all thing? Well, 1, it's based off my enjoyment. 2, Fist of the North Star hasn't had a lot of coverage, so having this is kind of fun. And 3, who doesn't want to indulge their inner carnage levels to the extreme of having people's heads explode? But it's only at number 6 because the top 5 bracket is kind of a steep thing, and I don't feel like having a lot of people look down upon me for looking down on these other games I'm about to go off on. So let's begin by going over number 5.
Chump cash-in time.
Now, kicking off the top 5 slot, we're going to swing into New York City once again with Marvel's Spider-Man for the PS4. Everyone was talking about this game like it was the cat's pajamas. Everyone was saying it was like Spider-Man 2 on a bigger scale. Everyone was telling me that it's the next evolution into the Spider-Man video games. Everyone was telling me to fork over all of my money and buy this game. Everybody was telling me that Stan Lee's cameo was the #1 cameo in the entire fucking span of cameos. May Stan Lee rest in peace. Everyone was talking that good shit, but I just didn't want to play it. In any case, though, from what my big brother Casey and my big sister Griff were telling me, it's an amazing game. The web-slinging content is superb. The combat style is reminiscent to what Spider-Man would be doing in real time. All the events make sense. Peter Parker isn't dating Mary Jane, so there's hope for a Gwen Stacy callback at some point. Miles Morales is Spider-Boy, which makes everyone swoon. And the DLCs are fun from what I've heard. But again, I'm just not willing to fork over my money just yet because I'm just not a huge Peter Parker fan. We'll get into why in a couple of videos in 2019. But until then, let's just say I hope Peter Parker dies a horrible, horrible, slow and painful death from a million enemies. And half of them being himself. So, while you guys mulled over why I hate Peter Parker, let's go into number 4.
I've seen a lot in my journey up the ranks. An endless cycle of violence, now broadcast as a spectator's sport.
Now at number 4, we're just going to try and go back to the ways of the Old West. As going to the prequel storyline of one John Marston in Red Dead Redemption 2.
There they are. Who steals a goddamn boy? I'm gonna let fly at those sons of bitches.
Now I know a lot of you guys are thinking, well, if it's just gonna be one of those games, was V able to play Red Dead Redemption 2 for like a demo or beta or just the game in general? Well, I'm gonna stop y'all there and just tell y'all, I did not play it whatsoever. All I know is from a lot of my friends, my siblings, and even just some people I just can't stand. They were like, this game right here, this is one of the best games of the year. Got the gunslinging, got the horses, got a man named Chick Matthews. And most importantly, you're gonna be John motherfucking Marston again before the events of the first game. But just hearing that small thing is why I would never say it's gonna be the #1 game of the year. Cause one, prequels tend to just not tell it as much. I'd rather have a sequel game about his son. Because when you left off in Red Dead Redemption 1, you just were like, if the son got up to be this high, why didn't we just play the story for him in the sequel? But no. 2 is the new 1. 1 is the new 2. And that always makes me a little angry. But to get that much high praise above Spider-Man, just have people go to the Wild Wild West and get themselves some horses, some outlaws, run away from the police, jack up some horses and go into a huge landscape the size of which Texas would then sweat over how big it is. Oh my lord. I would then have to say it well deserved of its number 4 slot. Now I will just drop this very strong southern accent, then go into number 3.
I've seen a lot in my journey up the ranks. An endless cycle of violence, now broadcast as a spectator's sport.
Future voice acting attempts aside, we're gonna then go into the one, the only, land of the Norse gods. As number 3 is none other than God of War. Technically 4.
Hang on, boy! What is this?
Now, a lot of people would just be kind of surprised of like, oh wow, in the top 3 spot we got ourselves Kratos and the boy all up in them there hills killing every single motherfucking god this here side of Ragnarok. Now slow down everybody, slow down. I know it won Game of the Year. I already know all the people are just like, "Argh!" about all these other games that deserved a higher spot, but just hear me out about why it's in the top 3 slot. 1, Kratos is back, minus TC Carson, which dropped it some points. Number 2, you get to fight the Norse gods, my motherfucking G's. The Greek pantheon is basically dead, you know, minus a few gods here and there. So where is the next logical explanation for where we're gonna go? It's either the Norse, the Hindu gods, the Egyptian gods, all of them, but we're gonna start off with the most ruthless of them all, the Nordic, which is just as powerful. Number 3, it's a father-son story. I have weaknesses for those because I've always wanted a son. Number 4, the combat system isn't that bad. Sure, the other games on this whole list had enough visceral action or enough intrigue or their own unique spin on things to just be compelling on its own unique standpoint, but when you play a lot of God of War where it's just the same old free-form fighting style to then just be a much more seasoned combatant trying to harden yourself into just being in one place or another and focus in a tunnel-like vision rather than just a huge widespread like a Greek warrior, it's a very refreshing taste into the whole manic berserker standpoint that we all know and love from Kratos. It shows that he's grown up and developed into an actual character beyond the whole, my vengeance is now. Into now just being there to be a better mentor for his son than his own father was. And I can go all day about how terrible a father Zeus is. Hashtag son of Hades. But that is only where I'm going to stop there, because the only reason it's not any higher is because although I enjoyed the game, although I loved trying to free all the Valkyries, although I enjoyed trying to get all the armors and my whole attempt to try and platinum the whole game, I'm still working on it. It just didn't hit me in that same spot that first and second ones on this list got me at. It's sad, I know, but still, to crack the number 3 spot just shows that God of War still has a huge spot in my heart that no other game can take away from it. But we gotta move on into number 2.
I've seen a lot in my journey up the ranks. An endless cycle of violence, now broadcast as a spectator's sport.
Going into number 2, from one dad to another. From probably one of the worst dads in fiction. Even now that he's a better dad to his son, he's still kind of a bad dad in retrospect. We're gonna go over Sega's number 1 dad and grandpa in its entire franchise of Yakuza 6. Where do I even start with how good of a character Kiryu Kazuma has been to his daughter and now to his grandson? Well, picking up from the events of the 5th game, which I still cannot believe this game spoiled me because I could never finish it because my PS3 was stolen. It's now picking up several years later. Kiryu now has a smartphone, his daughter got into an accident, but now he has to take care of his grandson and find his grandson's father. It's a very beautiful story, but then why would that just be the whole story for Yakuza? Isn't it a story of violence, mayhem, tragedy, and a lot of dangerous situations that would leave a lot of people dead in their tracks? Yes. Yes, it is. And this game does not disappoint in any of that bracket because 1, it delivers in full. 2, it delivers in a much more cinematically delicious manner. And 3, it is just the most beautiful story that makes me aspire to be a better father to my own 2 kids and hopefully to my future grandkids in a way that I don't think I ever understood until I actually sat down to play this game in its entirety. All the way up to, I'm not going to stay where I stopped in the game. I'm just going to say it was such a beautiful ride, I had to stop and cry a couple of times. And even when I wasn't trying to steer away from the main game, the side quests were enjoyable. Doing all the stuff of clan building was immensely enjoyable. And although the other games I could talk about, like Kiwami 2 dropping, was one of the best remakes I've ever heard of, again, not dropped in 2018, cannot cheapen the experience that way. But to just go into the whole spree as it was, Yakuza 6 was probably the best time I've had in an action/adventure storyline than I've had in any other game thus far. Will it be one of my top 10 favorite games of all time? You guys got to find out next month when I go over my top 25 list. In the meantime, though, let's now go into the number 1 pick for 2018.
See that? Now that was a battle.
Now this is when things get a little bit weird for a lot of you guys. You guys know I have a huge spot in my heart for the Yakuza franchise, for the God of Wars, for anything involving good shooter games that don't make me want to rip my controller into a million tiny pieces. You guys know I enjoyed a lot of big games that dropped this year that even I didn't touch on. So it's gonna shock a lot of you guys, even though a lot of you probably saw this coming a mile away if you saw me stream this like twice. But my number 1 pick is Detroit Become Human. How to describe this one? So, for all of you guys that know, from me playing Heavy Rain almost religiously, almost getting 100% on the PS3, and going shy as to just being lazy on the PS4 remastered version, kind of enjoying Beyond Two Souls, not love it, just kind of enjoyed it for what it was, an experience. It was a weird dichotomy to go from those two to full-blown diving into one game that was so realistically powerful, it is now banned in my own relationship. Now, you probably are wondering what I mean by it's banned in my relationship. Well, when you have a game that touches on so many realistic standpoints, even though 2 of them are very much backwards in its own unique fashion. But again, I'm not going to go into that debate with you guys because minority logic versus non-minority logic will never work out. It makes the dichotomy very confusing in our eyes, where it wouldn't be the same way in a non-minority's eyes. I'm just going to leave it at that point. The other things I'm going to make is that the character models, although very clunky in some capacities, they do, in a sense, make you attached to these characters in a way that's so realistically unique. You end up seeing yourself be imprinted on these characters the more you play the story. The more you get diving into the immersive environment, the introspective, interactive storyline of it all. I'm trying to make the best out of this whole thing, guys. It's a complex web to go over into why this game is so beautiful without you playing the game yourself and going through all the lore, going through all the backstories, all the back channels, trying to go over all the different choices to make the entire web of things happen so you can know for yourself what is and isn't the truth, how to do this timeline and that timeline. It's a hard thing to just describe into words because of how in-depth it is, but that's definitely the whole reason why it's my #1 pick. I mean, sure, God of War was one of the most inventive new games I've ever met in a huge kill God storyline, and Yakuza 6 raised the bar for itself so high, I don't think anything in the Yakuza franchise can ever reach that limit and come close to the glory that came from all the beautiful atmosphere and storyline, and how all the characters' own story arcs ended up very graciously in a beautiful motif over how they've been built up over the years. But Detroit ends up becoming that one impactful game where you end up feeling a little bit different going away from it all than when you did when you came into it. It's why when Amethyst ended up seeing the finale of my first playthrough of it, she literally was sobbing and crying over everything, where she did not want to see me stream this game again. When you have a game that's so beautiful that not only you cry or you make your fans cry, but when you make the one person that you love the most sob uncontrollably from what you're playing to make sure that you never make them cry again, is just a testimony into how beautiful a story this was, how amazing this experience has been, and why it's my #1 pick for 2018's top 8 games of the year. Now, you guys are at your whole leisure to then go in the comment section below and tell me all of the games that you'd pick for 2018. I'm just telling you guys what I chose. But I don't mind getting feedback from all you lovely people about what you definitely thought about the roster this year. Well, that's all time I have, but I'll see you guys in my final video dropping on New Year's Eve.